The college football experience, Arkansas Razorback 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience. Arkansas Razorbacks 2023 season preview. Oh man, I am just excited to talk Razorback football. Yeah, now hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe, tell a friend, but also wherever podcasts are found. We're in the process of going through all 133 teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. And now we are on the Arkansas Razorbacks, one of my favorite teams in the SEC. And I'm excited to talk shop, essentially. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Oh, you're going to pay for it. That's what Pulled Pork Pittman's saying. My guy, Sam Pulled Pork Pittman. I know he's up there in age. But now that Orgeron's out, I'm drafting Pittman high in the SEC coaching Royal Rumble. I am joined by my buddy, man. It's been a minute. The host of the notorious OTB Gambling Podcast, which obviously horse racing going on right now. Get yourself over there. All right. I promise you, he has nothing to do with all those horses dying at Churchill Downs. He also is a host of the Gymnasium Podcast with our pal XFL Jim. And I mean, they call him the Wolf of Oaklawn, baby. And if you don't know what Oaklawn is, do that Google search. All right. How you doing, Chase?
I'm good. I've been so caught up in the XFL and USFL that I feel like I'm just now taking my first look forward into college football. And so you messaged me about this and I haven't slept since. I've just been digging in.
Well, look, I know you're a diehard Arkansas Razorback fan, and look, and we love the XFL, USFL, CFL, ELF, IFL. No, actually, IFL is kind of where I draw the line. But subscribe to all this podcast. But I mean, this is college football season now, man. We're in, and the Razorbacks. Well, first off, I've been lucky enough to have you all in the past 2 years talking Razorback football, and 2 years ago, I ate a steaming pile of shit on the over-under. I was like, the schedule's too tough. I love Pulled Pork Pittman, but it ain't happening. And then he won 8 games or something, and the team looked really good. Last year, I took the under. Not that I loved it. I just thought the SEC West was a little tough, and who they got from the other side and stuff. I somehow cashed. I still feel like I probably shouldn't have, because I feel like the team was better than I thought it was going to be. If that makes sense. But I still cashed somehow because Dundee magic, I'll say. And now we look at this season, and I think before I highlight the transfer portal, which it's 2023, folks, we take 39 minutes out of every show to talk the transfer portal. But coaching changes. Barry Odom who 2 years ago, I loved his defense. Last year, whew. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but he was the defense coordinator, former Missouri Tiger head coach. He's now the head coach at UNLV, where he employed Bobby Petrino for 2 weeks before he left for A&M. It was fantastic. It was a great 2 weeks. And offensive coordinator Kendal Briles, not to be confused with Art Briles, apparently. He's gone. He's at TCU. He says, they're in the national championship. Fuck it, I'm out. So coaching changes left and right. We're going to talk about the coordinating. We still have Pulled Pork Pittman. All right. And I trust Pulled Pork Pittman. But before we get into all this, I want to tell you that the college football experience, Arkansas Razorback 2023 season previews, brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Yes. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be an extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Say maybe you took the over on Arkansas last year, and all of a sudden you said, "Whoa, our team was pretty good. How the hell this not cash? All your money's gone. You don't want to take out another grand because your old wife is going to say, "Hey, what the hell is this? I thought you bet only 1,000, not 2,000." Right? Well, then you do the old quarterback sneak, little play action fake, and dial up Edge Boost, because here's what's great: you get that increased bankroll. You can get down on some of your futures, without tying up that bankroll, without essentially having the old missus look at it. Double down on your favorite bet. You can even, hedge, even though I don't really advise it. We don't advise it on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. But look, Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark. This isn't Paulie 2 times outside of the bowling alley with the lead pipe ready to bust your fucking kneecaps. All right. You don't got to worry about looking like Patrick Ewing on the fucking Seattle Supersonics. All right. You're going to be fine. All right. Because they got your back, and they charge 0 interest. Half the battle before was that you didn't have the money. The interest goes up, and next thing you know, you're digging you're going to be stuck in this hole, and you're changing your name and moving to fucking Duluth. You know what I mean? Like, so now you're good. That's part of the plan. That's why it's safer today. Edge Boost. Everyone's talking this shit. Alabama baseball. No, we caught them. That the system is working. Edge Boost, before it was like, no, you found out Boston College cheated 25 years later. But yeah, system's working. Edge Boost can be a big part of your responsible gambling plan, and they can help you set up daily, weekly, monthly, limits all across your betting accounts in one place. So support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Once again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. You must be 21 years or older to use. Problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we are back on the college football experience. And look, I mean, before I dive into this, Chase, I know the Wikipedia page says Arkansas won national championship. I am going to argue that. I'm going to say 6 national championships.
Ooh, I feel like we 2 retroactive Heismans for Darren McFadden too. While we're at it,
yeah. Well, look, college football. As much as I'm a college football junkie, I've watched more college football, I think, than the average maniac. And the fact that I see 5 undefeated seasons, which means 5 national championships to me, and then I see a 1977 season where they had the same record as the national champion, and they had a common opponent, and also they lost their game by less points than, say, Notre Dame. That's the problem when you go through the history books of college football. As much as I love it, it's like just because the Des Moines Gazette said, "Oh, Notre Dame's the national champion," they somehow like ran with it.
Yeah. Just so like yokels at the Des Moines Gazette. Are you kidding me? I don't trust them to make that decision.
It's so, I mean, I'm perplexed. If I'm Arkansas, I don't understand why you don't own this more. If you go through Alabama's history, I shit you not. You can go back.
Alabama claims every championship that is ever disputed. Like they have the ones that they won, and they've claimed just random ones from they're conquistadors in Central America, man.
Alabama has a championship where they went 7-5. They're like, "Oh, we're champions. We're champions." Yeah. Look, the
this
Huntsville Observer.
So.
Yeah. So why not? Everyone should own it. I love how they gave UCF shit in like 18 or 19. I'm like, if I don't even care if I lost a game. You wouldn't even have to go undefeated. We got the same record. Guess what? We didn't play. We're fucking national champs. All right, let's go. So I'm giving them it in 1977. And look, since I am part of the media, this is Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I do expect Sam Pulled Pork Pittman to give me a call or put that plaque up on the at the stadium there, because I'm giving you it in 77. You got it. And
so one. You referred to him as older earlier. He's not older. He's slow cooked. He's just been slow cooked longer. Sam Pulled Pork Pittman.
How do you like my thing though? I mean, every year I do this thing on the College Football Experience where I talk about the Royal Rumble from the coaching point of view, and we start with the conferences. And I feel like once we got Orgeron out, because Orgeron, I had honestly, he was like minus 2,000 to win the SEC Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Now we're at a point where I'm like, hey. I know Kirby Smart played D-back. Saban played D-back, but in the MAC. That doesn't count. Smart would beat him, and Saban's 75 years old. That's not going to work. So then you bounce around. Eli Drankowitz, get the fuck out of here. All right.
Oh God, that apple face goon, get him out of here.
Then you roll on over. You're like, okay, Gus Malzahn. Yeah, he coached from a hospital bed, but I mean, not Gus Malzahn. I'm sorry, Hugh Freeze. And then you're like Brian Kelly and his family, not gonna work. Jimbo Fisher, no. So I feel pretty confident, and I know like Clark Lee's kind of a wild card that I could see maybe some good value on. Stoops, maybe.
I'm seeing high red wrestling boots. I'm seeing a black singlet. I'm talking the one over the shoulder, and it's Sam Pittman, and he's just taking fools, throwing them off, clunking their heads together right in the middle.
100%. He's got some Arn Anderson to him. I see it. All right. I see it. And I think I'm going to say he's the 1 seed in this thing. Shane Beamer, come on now. No. All right. Yeah. Look, he is the 1 seed. And I think I covered all the teams there. You got Zach Arnett at Mississippi State. Lane Kiffin. Arnett's kind of a wild card. I don't know what to expect of Arnett. He's a defensive guy. That's always, gives you a little bit of a leg up, I feel like. But I'm going to go ahead and say, like, Pulled Pork Pittman's the 1 seed, probably Kirby Smart, the 2 seed, Clark Lee, a wild card, Arnett, a wild card, but it's one of those 4 coming out of there. And I think it's Pulled Pork Pittman. You?
I give consideration to Lane Kiffin, because Lane Kiffin has to be like your stereotypical pretty boy heel, like your Triple H before he started like cutting the sleeves off of his shirts. Like
he's got a little Jimmy Hart,
Shawn
too,
Michaels,
right?
yeah, Jimmy Hart too. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. I feel like every conversation anyone's ever had with Lane Kiffin is with him going, "Cool story, bro," and they're just walking off.
Very true. I could totally see that. So, Pulled Pork Pittman, you got Orgeron out of there. You're dominating in my mind. He's 19 and 17 in 3 years. How do you feel about the Sam Pulled Pork Pittman experience? Obviously, better than your previous coach. But still, in general, what about compared to Bielema? What about compared to John L. Smith? What about compared to some of the other big names that have came through there?
Jeez, you get behind him. With Sam Pittman, just expectations not knocked out of the park. Like, you worry about going with a retread, especially when it's not a coordinator from like a coach that you previously had, especially when it's Brett Bielema, who was very unceremoniously kicked the fuck out of town. And like, he's performed well. He's made the right hires. The recruiting has stepped up. The transfer portal game has stepped up. When we play, he knows what the spread is, because he'll cover it. He'll even cover the first quarter spreads. So I got everything that I want out of Sam Pulled Pork Pittman. And I mean, it was a little bit of a regression last year, but I think it's because year 2 was a big surprise. I think we kind of hockey stick this year a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, let me break this down. The transfer portal. Here we go. Buckle up, folks. This is like Ace Ventura when he's like, soccer style kicker, full your regret. No, there's so much changes here. And these portal wars, especially when it comes to Arkansas, fun. Very fun what we got going here. They lost. I'll start out with they lost first. For some reason, I don't know if the team took a trip to actually they did. Didn't they play in the Liberty Bowl against Kansas?
Yeah, they won the Liberty Bowl.
There might have been some nice scattered ass going through Memphis because offensive tackle Marcus Henderson said, "You know what? I'm staying in Memphis. I'm going to the Memphis Tigers." Safety Simeon Blair said, "You know what? I'm staying in Memphis. Scattered asses here. I like it." And then you got the punter Reed Bauer who says, "I'm staying in Memphis." They're all Memphis Tigers. 3 guys. Boom, gone. All right. Also, safety Anthony Brown went to the Purdue Boilermakers. Defensive end. Actually, not only did Anthony Brown go to Purdue, Isaiah Nichols, a defensive lineman, went to Purdue. So Purdue comes swooping in. The Colorado Buffaloes, we come, and Deion Sanders comes swooping in with Jordan Dominic, the former Georgia Tech transfer. He's had some good years in college football before. He goes out to Colorado. Same with safety Miles Slusher. Then a couple guys go to UNLV. Barry Odom calling the phone, picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, Jackson Woodard at linebacker, come out to Vegas and chase some scattered ass." Same with offensive tackle Jalen St. John. He heads out to UNLV. The big one here is safety Jalen Catalon. How do I pronounce that again? Catalon, right? Yeah,
Catalon. Yep.
Yeah, he was known to be one of the better players, and a couple years ago, and he's at. He's with the Texas Longhorns. Absolutely disgusting. To transfer from Arkansas to Texas is disgusting. I don't care if they're in different conferences for one more year. Tight end Trey Knox was a beast. He left for South Carolina. That's gross too. Safety Zach Zimas. Almost Zima. Haven't had a Zima in a long time. He went to Louisiana Tech. Cornerback Quan Parker went to Tulsa with the Golden Hurricane, and defensive end Eric Thomas, Southern Miss. Quarterback Malik Hornsby, who got some playing time. I think he even got a start. He's at Texas State. Cornerback Kari Jackson went to Boston College. Running back James Jointer to Liberty. And wide receiver Ketron Jackson went to Baylor. Now here's what's hilarious, because highlight Baylor there. Because now you have who they brought in. So Arkansas lost a shit ton of transfers. Absolutely a shit ton of transfers. The incoming class, Joshua Braun from the Florida Gators at offensive tackle. They play this year, so he's going to get a chance to flush the toilet on his old team. Wide receiver Andrew Armstrong, and folks, I know you probably haven't heard of Texas A&M Commerce, but this kid caught. He had over 1,200 yards of offense at Texas A&M Commerce in the FCS. Linebacker Antonio Greer comes from the South Florida Bulls. Now he only had 21 tackles a year ago, but the year prior, I thought he was a pretty good linebacker. They went to the JUCO route to bring in wide receiver Isaac Tesla. We got a fucking genius here.
Plug it in, baby.
Yeah.
Give it some juice.
Quarterback Jacoby Criswell comes in from North Carolina. I actually think losing Hornsby and getting Criswell, I would argue they severely upgraded the quarterback position.
Yes.
Safety Art Brothwaite comes in from Western Kentucky. He had 12 tackles with the Hilltoppers. Defensive end John Morgan from Pitt had 3 sacks. I like this get. This is a underrated get in my opinion.
And you know what you and this kid have in common? You can go sit at home in DC and bitch about the same old Bamas and the same old go-go because he's a DMV DeMatha High kid.
Oh, my dad's a DeMatha High kid. There we go. Okay. Dialing up some of dad's bloodline here. I think he's going to be a stud. He can listen to some go-go. I don't know how it's going to be interesting going from DC. Talk about culture shock. Going from DC to Fayetteville. I hope the money's good, because I'm telling you, that is just vast change. All right. That's like going dude, I just spent a month in South America. All right. Things are different. All right.
Right.
Things are different. I'll just say that.
I often hear that Arkansas is the mid-Atlantic of the South, though. So I feel like he'll, just ease right in.
There we go. And money always helps too. Money always helps. That's help me in South America.
Chicken money. You want some Walmart money? We got it.
Yeah. I took like $1,000 down to South America, and they're like, you have $10 million essentially. And the only problem
how'd you fight the urge to get in the drug game and turn that into several more $1 million is my question.
Well, it's just a no-brainer, I feel like, if you're down there. This is the big one, I think, here. And I know he's got a shorter name. Let me cheat here and look at it's Al, because I was going to say his full name is Al-Fahim Walcott, the safety. This is the second leading tackler from the Baylor Bears, and Dave Aranda is a great coach with defense. So he comes in. That is a huge get, in my opinion, for the Arkansas Razorbacks. They also got in wide receiver Tyrone Broden from Bowling Green,
Huge.
500 yards. Yeah.
Huge. I'm excited for this guy. 6'7". He needs to bulk up a little bit if he's going to be that tall at 197. Caught all sorts of passes. Like played for a really bad Bowling Green team and stood out. Plus, like we have that hole to fill. Like he might shine.
And you guys got Landers the year before from Toledo. These MAC receivers, you guys. Pulled pork Pittman on Tuesday nights. He's not hanging out with the wife. He's watching this action, baby.
Nope. He's got action on Ball State.
and so do we. And that's why we love him. Cornerback Lorando Johnson also comes over from Baylor. So wait, let me get this straight. They lose one of their top wideouts to Baylor, but they get their starting safety and a reserve corner who I think is going to start for Arkansas because he had a really good spring. Just 12 tackles a season ago. But like I said, Dave Aranda keeps a great program. Then they go get Trajan Jeffcoat.
Trajan Jeffcoat.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, anybody named Jeffcoat on the defensive line is a fucking like a war hero to me. You know what I mean?
It's how all JoJos are fast, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. You're right. You're very, very true. So if you're Jeffcoat, I don't care. Look, I look at Missouri last year, 1 sack doesn't matter. Best damn defensive lineman in the country in my mind.
He was all SEC first team selection in his sophomore year as a redshirt sophomore. Like we're getting that and a quick edge rusher, which is going to be great whenever we talk about the changes to defense and the changes to scheme and everything, because that was a need.
But wait, the protected rivalry for Arkansas, I heard, was Missouri.
Yeah, that sucks. That's really unfortunate. I don't care about Missouri. No one cares about Missouri. I don't understand why they're trying to. It's like they're trying to make Fetch a thing, and Fetch is the battle lines rivalry with Missouri. Like it was never a shooting war. We can't do that.
Yeah. I've always wondered that too. I'm like, I consider all those SWAC schools real rivals. I don't consider Missouri a rival. I mean, I get it. You touch each other state-wise, but like, okay, maybe that can develop into a rivalry, but it's not a rivalry right now. So
I think it's LSU, honestly. If we were to gauge it, that's it. That's our actual like SEC rival, I feel like.
But I'm excited that, I mean, part of the bet, like Oklahoma and Texas and USC and UCLA changing college football. I don't know that I'm the biggest fan of all these moves, but if there is something I can be a fan of is that Texas plays Texas A&M every year. And the fact that Arkansas will be playing Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M, pretty frequently. I'm okay with that because they only have been playing for 150 years, I feel like, or 125 years. So
every time we play against Texas and it's been like a couple years layoff, like I get obnoxious for that game. Like I'm going to be insufferable every single year going forward now because of playing Texas.
Now I was hoping it was going to be a 9-game conference schedule. And I don't know. I don't even want to know if Pulled Pork Pittman voted for yes or no on this, but please stop being cowards and do a 9-game conference schedule because I want to see Texas A&M every year. I want to see Arkansas play Texas and Texas A&M as many times as possible, preferably every year. But I understand that there's 300 teams in these conferences these days. You got USC taking on Rutgers. All right. That's like, what's the next? Are we going to get a college in England in the Big? Is Hawaii going to join the Big Ten soon? Anyway, more players coming in. Jaheim Singletary, a cornerback from Georgia, cornerback Keon Stewart from TCU, who got some play last year. Now I know Singletary didn't see the field at Georgia last year, but Stewart got some burn. Played in the national champ. Both those guys, I guess. Georgia obviously won the national championship, and TCU showed up to LAX. That was about it. Defensive lineman Anthony Booker comes over from Maryland. He had 2 sacks. This is a low key good get. Is Varquez Gums from North Texas. He was a pretty good tight end there. I remember watching the Mean Green and thinking, who the hell's this guy? And then you want to talk about a stud get here. Jaheim Thomas, the second leading tackler for the Cincinnati Bearcats, who had a really good defense. I know they're in the AAC, but they played Arkansas last year. I think Pulled Pork Pittman was like, who the hell's that? Let's get him. They also added Kelvy Rose, from a defensive lineman from La Tech, who had 2 sacks, and also Francis Sherman, a tight end from Louisville, who had 1 catch on the season. But I got to highlight getting Jaheim Thomas, getting Keon Stewart, getting Jeffcoat, getting the kids from Baylor and John Morgan and even Jacoby Criswell, because if KJ Jefferson gets injured. Now, I got to see about the wideouts. I think Broden and Armstrong will be serviceable, but overall, I mean, it's really hard to grade a transfer portal with 7 million players in it, but I think they won it despite them losing some key guys. I'm curious your take.
My take is that, so we're going to end up changing our defensive scheme with the new DC, Travis Williams. He comes in from UCF where he was under Gus Malzahn, which is gross. He also went to Auburn, also fucking disgusting, but he's a pretty good coordinator. His D, like the drop 8 is done at Arkansas. Get ready to see the 4-3 over with quarters coverage. You're going to see a lot more try to get dynamic pass rushers instead of just eating up blocks like those 3-man fronts. And you're going to see a lot more press coverage on the out. Like if you're talking to Arkansas fans right now, you're like, oh, you mean just like what we did under like Houston Nutt for a couple of years and, made it to some SEC championship games. It's that same kind of like defensive scheme. And with the portal, they were able to get all of their needs right away instead of having to recruit their way through a scheme change. And so landing those people like Trajan Jeffcoat, landing the DMV zone, John Morgan the third, those are huge because those are both edge rushers, which you were just naturally out of because you didn't run that scheme. You get a little bit older in the secondary. That's the big question. You bring in, people like Lorando Jackson, I believe from Baylor. I think his nickname is Snacks, by the way, with 2 X's. Saw that earlier.
Great name.
Yeah, dude, he just Pac-Man's ball up. Just
yeah, Lorando Johnson and then Walcott. They got Baylor. I trust the defensive players at Baylor. Now, and you hit on something that's really great to mention here. So, I don't even know why they do this anymore, and I'm sorry to Bill Connelly because I think he's good at his job for ESPN, but he does this returning production thing. And, I could rattle off the numbers and say, well, Arkansas is one of the worst in the country at returning production. They're actually 106th. Yeah. And before, in the college football me and you grew up on, those are red flags coming into the season. You're like, oh man. But now, as you mentioned, the transfer portal, I mean, I think it's just a brand new game. I almost think you got to throw the stat out. You know what I mean? Like I really, it sounds bad because you have all these numbers, but it's like, dude, I just read off like 10 studs they got in the portal.
Yeah. And I mean, if you were talked about if we returned the production to a different scheme, then it's not going to be as good as it was. So in this case, like it's just a complete wash. Like I don't think you even can look at returning production for a team like Arkansas going through these scheme changes, even with offense. Dan Enos, like if you look at Kendal Briles' pass offense, it was it's very simple. It was a lot of like Sean McVay-ish, kind of a lot of window dressing, a lot of misdirection, and then like 2 people running routes and they're open by about 15 yards. I think you're going to get a little bit more dynamic passing. I'm going to make a bold prediction and say the defense might end up being the better side of the ball with some of these like instant changes that they're making this year. And with the more complicated offense, maybe the offense lags a little bit. Interesting
that you say that. Yes, Dan Enos is the new OC, and I'm curious about that because I was thinking it was the other way around. But once again, I don't know. But look, let me rattle this off for the audience here. Arkansas was 34th in scoring offense in the nation last year, 7th in rush offense. Pulled pork Pittman's that's an O-line coach, baby. 62nd in pass offense, 15th in total offense. They bring back KJ Jefferson. They bring back Rocket Sanders. But besides that, they bring back just 2 other players, and that is Brady Latham, 2 other starters. I'm sorry, not 2 other players. Brady Latham and Bo Limmer at the guard and center spot. It's never a good thing historically to be replacing both tackles. You did bring in the kid from Florida, but I am a little concerned. At that.
I've grown out of being like a drink the Kool-Aid fan and being a more skeptical fan. I feel like when it comes to offensive lines and Sam Pittman, I'm just gonna drink the Kool-Aid. I think he's probably got it.
That's true. That is his specialty. So you're probably 100% right there. Now, defensively, obviously, Travis Williams comes in, Barry Odom's gone. They were 100th in scoring defense last year, 93rd in rush defense, and 130th in pass defense. Folks, there was 131 teams, so they weren't dead last, but they were the second worst team in pass defense as Jalen Daniels threw for like 1,000 yards in the bowl game. They were 100. What's that?
For the people at home who are unaware, we fielded a white cornerback in SEC play last year, just to put it into perspective.
What is Barry Odom trying to prove? All right, what is he trying to prove right there?
It was injuries. It was injuries for injuries and discipline for an extremely thin, position group depth wise, and they could drop 8 as long as they wanted to. As if the guys just sucked and weren't fast and everyone could just run past them, it didn't matter. So they even tried to play the 4-3 last year towards the end of the season because they knew they just didn't have anybody. Like Miles Slusher was on the team, he was off the team, he was arrested, he was pouting in a hotel room. There's all sorts of stuff. Jalen Catalon was always injured. Look out for Dwight McGlothern though. Kid's got ball skills. Dude can pick it off. If he can keep his head together and not get stupid personal fouls, big time leader in the secondary, I think.
Well, and you also have Hudson Clark, right? That had, I almost said Hudson Card, the quarterback from Texas, that's now at Purdue. But Hudson Clark, I remember watching a game, and now he's a white defensive back too. I don't know what you guys
named after an old slow car, a Hudson.
I don't know. Shout out to look. I you know what it is? Pulled Pork Pittman's watching Iowa Hawkeye football. I guarantee you, on the bye week, he sees Kirk Ferentz and all these white corners and safeties and says, "Damn, this defense is good. We got to get us some white boys back there." And I don't know. I mean, but Hudson Clark, I did watch a game. I want to say it was 2 years ago.
He played
maybe
well.
Even. He had 3 interceptions in one game. I want to say it was against Coach Leach. Rest in peace, our friend Coach Leach. So he's back. Jaden Johnson back. Both safeties are back. You are breaking in brand new linebackers. Obviously, Drew Sanders had a great year for you last year. He's gone.
Bumper Pool.
Yeah, Bumper Pool's gone. Yeah, 2 of 4 back on the D line. You got Landon Jackson and Jashad Stewart. But like you alluded to in the portal, you got 2 guys that I think are going to fit in well, and also the kid from Cincinnati, I think will be there. Overall, so. If you just look blindly at the numbers here, you say, well, 4 returning starters on offense, 5 on defense. I got no idea. It's harder and harder to project. You know what I mean? It's harder and harder to project. I will say, I think I was a little weary of the defense just because I wasn't sure how good UCF's defense was when I watched them. I remember that Louisville game and where I thought UCF had no business losing that game, and they did, but obviously they must have liked something. So he comes in, and I've heard people talk good about him. Believe it or not, I've heard we've talked to coaches that are high on this defensive coordinator here. And so maybe there's something there that I'm not, maybe it was just the fact that UCF was in the AAC. I don't know, but I was a little weary. But you've kind of confirmed, you've kind of convinced me that I should be more worried about the offensive side of the ball. Now, let me ask you this. Kendal Briles runs that Briles offense where players just get open. It's like a one read look for the quarterback. Yeah. Will Enos, do you have any concern that KJ Jefferson could regress because he's in a brand new offense?
I feel like he's been there so long. He's a redshirt senior at this point. He knows how to handle his business. It's just going to be a matter of just kind of jiving on the lingo and the vision. That's what I hope. At least. I don't, overlook the fact that Dan Enos is really good at calling to his strengths, though. For example, we had great tight ends. We had Hunter Henry last time he was here. Turned Hunter Henry into a Mackey Award winner. Also, the man can dial up a screen. I feel like during the games, people are like, "Are you gonna call a screen now? Are you gonna call a screen now?" He's like, "No, not yet. And then he says, "Initiate," and it's the perfect time to call the screen. The dude loves a screen pass.
That's true. And Rocket Sanders is a fucking beast. Rocket Sanders is he's a stud. Arkansas is low key running back. Everyone always thinks Georgia and Auburn, and rightfully so. Arkansas, I mean, from Gary Anderson to Barry Foster to McFadden, who you alluded to who was the kid they had with McFadden who went to the Cowboys as well?
Felix Jones.
Yeah. They keep good backs with the Razorbacks. Get it? All right. Well, look, your kicker Cam Little's back. You're breaking in a new punter. Overall, so you think this roster, with the transfers included, I know it's hard to tell because we haven't watched them play a game as a Razorback. You think it's better than last year's roster?
Yeah, because there's an actual secondary. There are people in the secondary, not just like pylons at this point. And honestly, if you look at how our offensive line played, how our linebackers played, how it was designed to be played in that offense, they did their job. It's just they got blown up by just a terrible secondary that they were forced to play by injury. I think that they field a more talented all over defense as opposed to Drew Sanders and just Bumper Pool. And offense, offense is a little bit of a mystery. I just got to rely on Dan Enos's history of like a little bit of a quarterback whisperer. Like if you like the Central Mich teams like I do, Dan Lafleur.
Oh yeah. Let's go. I remember him.
Last time he was at Arkansas, he had Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen's been in the NFL for like 10 years. Tua, he had Tua at Alabama.
That's true. Yeah. Look, so they were 2-4 in 1-score games a year ago. Right. That means they kind of had some bad luck. And when I say bad luck, I circle that Texas A&M game because I feel like they were better than Texas A&M. And A&M pulled that out of their ass with like 100-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And then you had, obviously you had the Liberty game, which I don't even know what the hell happened there, but I actually called that one because I was like, Hugh Freeze. I just felt like it was a look ahead spot. They had LSU on deck. That LSU game was crazy. The Missouri game, lost all these close games. I feel like, with the exception of the Mississippi State and Alabama game. So I do think, that's what I mean is I called for the under last year. I don't think I like that hit. And if you listen to me, you cashed, but I would not be touting that one because I kind of feel like they were better than than what the final record was.
You have to consider KJ Jefferson doesn't play just flat out a couple games. And
that's right.
Hornsby was not the answer at quarterback too. Like you pretty much, you look like you're putting Christian McCaffrey in the NFC Championship game back there for a little bit.
Well, that's why getting Criswell is huge. Cause if Jefferson gets dinged up, I actually think Criswell's a better passer than maybe KJ Jefferson. So that makes it kind of interesting.
The name to be excited about is Malachi Singleton, the freshman from Kennesaw, Georgia, North Cobb High School. They say he's like the improved KJ Jefferson 2.0. Like that means he's got the wampin stick. He can do the wampin. So
okay. See, this is why we get Chase Sessoms on the show. We want to know about all this stuff. All right, look, well, before we get to going game by game and looking at the win total, I got to get us paid one more time. I want to tell you we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes. Best Ball Mania is here, and Underdog's giving away $15 million in prizes. Whew. That's some serious coin right there. Plus plenty of ways to win, with their player prop parlays, which they'll have during college football season. These are fantastic right now. Obviously NBA, NHL, MLB, all that good stuff. So check them out. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right. We are back with the Wolf of Oaklawn, AKA Chase Sessoms. Always an honor to talk ball with Chase, especially Razorback football. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see this sweet ass graphic that was made by Cameron Kerr. Shout out to Cameron Kerr. Although, he's an A&M alum.
Oh no, I know very well. He and I talk a lot of shit. Yeah. So I mean, he got so lucky to win that game against Arkansas last year. I had a substantial amount of money on the Razorbacks. That game was actually very annoying. That game was very, very annoying. Because I feel like Arkansas was a much better team. What's that? I talked so much shit to Cameron during the course of that game that I felt like I had a lot of money on the line at that point because I was really bumping my gums about that one because we jumped up early.
So if you're watching the win total here, or I'm sorry, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the win total set at 7 wins. Remember, bowl game doesn't count. So last year this would not have hit. Let's get into it because Week 1, War Memorial Stadium, the Catamounts, who don't look now, but Kerwin Bell. Any old folks out there that know the SEC they know Kerwin Bell was once a Florida Gator that I think almost had a perfect season with the Florida Gators. And this guy is the head coach of Western Carolina, and he just landed Charlie Dean, a quarterback from Harvard that I'm kind of high on. Obviously, I'm not taking Western Carolina to win this game, but I'm a little more intrigued than I was, say, 2 weeks ago. Now, I'll still lay the 21 or 24 with Arkansas, but they got a quarterback that's a player. It's going to be interesting. But Kerwin Bell, I mean, I can't talk too much shit about Western Carolina because Kerwin Bell is a former member of the Orlando Thunder, the Sacramento Gold Miners, the Edmonton Eskimos, the Toronto Argonauts, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and so on and so on. So in my mind, he might be the second coming of Houston Nutt. But what are you doing here against the Catamounts? Is this an easy one, or did I plug Kerwin Bell too much?
I think I take the dub outright against the Catamounts, and I think they probably play with their food early and cover late.
Shout out to my guy Weehawk though, who's a big time fan of Western Carolina. I hope your boys give him a game. All right, I hope your boys give him a game. But yes, I think Arkansas wins. So here's what's great for you guys. A year ago, it looked like you were going to play Kent State. Well, you're still playing Kent State, but Kent State had Sean Lewis and they had Colin Schlee, who's now he might start at UCLA, and Sean Lewis is the OC of Colorado. So he left the head coaching position to be the OC for Deion Sanders because that offense could fly. They actually were kind of giving Georgia a game in the first half. All right. And I don't know if you know this, but everybody left the team. It was like Colorado 2.0 in the MAC, only no one cares. Right. Everybody left the team. So they bring in Ken Burns, to be the head coach, former Minnesota running backs coach. I just expect them to be horrible because they lost everybody. You look at like their incoming transfers, they're bringing in guys from like, universities you didn't know existed. They sound like golf courses, right? And you're just like, what? Binghamton has a team, right? And so this is going to be done. I actually think Western Carolina poses more of a threat than Kent State.
Oh man, I'm so scared of Kent State. I've seen us lose this type of game to a MAC team from Ohio like so many times. I remember it happening with Toledo. It will.
Yeah, I remember that.
We're in constant like Fun Belt MAC. Like if you're a cool, fun little conference to play football in, you're a distinct threat to fuck our shit up early in the season sometimes.
I'm telling you though, man, the cupboard's empty in Kent. It's really empty. I think the Western Carolina game, by the way, is in Little Rock. It's not in Fayetteville. I don't know if that makes a difference, but
it's. I mean, it's going to be more rowdy. Like we might win by 1 million now because it's the salt of the earth. Central Arkansas and southeastern Arkansas get to come for this one game in a 30,000 person stadium. They get wild.
I like it. I think I need to go to that game. So I got him 2-0. And then my favorite culture clash is when BYU, see, this is brand new, BYU in West Virginia, right? So last year when Arkansas played BYU in Provo, I was like, oh, I should have went to that game just to see what it was like to not have alcohol. Right. And I guarantee you that there's something beautiful about this rivalry. And now the Mormons got to go to Fayetteville. This is fantastic. This is college football at its finest. Are you at all concerned about this game? Because I'll tell you one thing, BYU's defense was awful last year. Now, some of that was due to injuries, but they went out and they got the head coach of Weber State. He left to become the head coach or the defense coordinator of BYU. I believe his name's Jay Hill. He is a damn good coach. I expect BYU's defense to be vastly improved. I know that, I know part of BYU's problems, their struggles is that everyone else is 30 years old now too, because of COVID, because of the transfer portal. So they lost their edge.
Yeah. Yeah. Their pensions are maturing now at this point. They're ready to just get out of it and just retire by a pond somewhere. I was worried about this game last year. I was worried about going to BYU last year. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm actually worried about BYU this year. I think it's a trap game for us before LSU. I have us taking our first L to BYU at home.
I'll tell you one thing. So, I was on a radio spot and they were talking about the Big 12's new teams, and they're talking about Houston. They're talking about UCF. They're talking about Cincinnati, and they barely mentioned BYU. And I did not know they were going to hot potato me and say, who out of the 4 would you bet on to play in the Big 12 championship if you had to pick one? My answer was BYU, because they schedule. When they were independent, they had this ridiculous schedule where they're like week 2 we're playing Notre Dame, week 3 we're playing Arkansas, week 4 we're playing Wisconsin. Yeah. It's like okay, I actually think they're more built to go into this, into a Power 5 conference than perhaps the other schools, especially this year.
We can't forget 2 years ago they were essentially the Pac-12 South champion.
Yeah, that's right. They did. They beat everybody in the Pac-12 South. So I'm going to give Arkansas the win, but I'm very, very scared about this one because I could see. I think BYU is going to be a lot better than what they were last year. They were really injured last year, and I think the defense was really beat up. I think they'll be better. I got them 3-0. Then they head to Tiger Stadium to take on Brian Kelly and his family. I got you losing this one. What are you doing here?
I killed us against BYU so that we may live down the line. So I got them losing the trap game to BYU. I got them going into LSU because throw away the spreads, throw away the stats. That is always a close game when they get together either in Arkansas or Death Valley.
Why is this not the final game of the season? This should be the final game of the season.
It should be the Friday after Thanksgiving every year. And it should be in War Memorial in Little Rock for 30,000 just pissed off uncles of mine.
How they fuck this up? How did they fuck this up? I mean, come on, that's supposed to be. I remember all those games. We need that back on the schedule. All right. Hey, Sankey, call 1-800-PICK-DUNDEE. Let's get it going. So I got you 3-1, and then comes this game, and I hear rumblings that they're like, I hate this game in Jerry's world. Like I despise neutral site games in college football unless it's the Red River Shootout or the world's biggest cocktail party or a service academy game. This one drives me absolutely crazy because it's not like there's a history of playing this one in.
But we just don't want them to know where we live. Like we don't want them to follow us home sometime.
Oh man, I hate this game. Now Texas A&M, I just made a list. If you follow us on Twitter at TCE on SGPN, on the fact that A&M is must watch every week. I ranked the top 25 must watch teams every week, and I put A&M pretty high just because I don't know that I've ever seen a coaching staff that's so hilarious. They have DJ Durkin, who his history. They have Steve Adazio, who's was at Florida with Urban Meyer. It was an Urban Meyer guy for a long time. And then you have Bobby Petrino, aka Road Rash Face, where they return, the scene of the crime in Fayetteville. And then you have Jimbo Fisher. So you just have, I have no idea. Like Texas A&M, like getting Bobby Petrino, if he gives them the keys to the offense, I actually think they could win like 9 or 10 games. Now, I feel
like you just named the police blotter from like a fight in an Arby's parking lot in Victoria, Texas or something.
I mean, dude, this has potential to be like, I could totally see this being like a 3-9 team, or I could see this being a 9-3 team. So I have no idea what to expect with A&M. I'm giving this one to Arkansas because they should have won it last year. You?
Yeah. A strong angle here for me, which is fuck Cameron Kerr. So it's a hard dub for Arkansas against Texas A&M.
It's been proven to be effective before. The following week, though, they head to Vaught Hemingway Stadium to take on Ole Miss. Ooh. Man, I feel like if you beat your rival, you slip. Oh man, but you got Bama, dude. This is essentially 4 games on the road in a row. Let me get this straight. Arkansas is not in Texas. Well, guess what? Arlington, Texas is in Texas. So let me get this straight. You're at LSU, which is Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Then you have to go to the opposing team's state, even though it's a neutral site game, to take on Texas A&M. Then you go to Mississippi to take on Ole Miss. Then you go to Alabama. What the? You're on the road for a month. You're like the fucking Rolling Stones here. What's going on?
Yeah, I was gonna actually get an old like Volkswagen van and just make some super dank ganja goo balls and follow them around. Just party like they're fish or something. If you want to get down, if you're in like gas money,
This
that's all
is
it takes.
brutal. You get like 2 football seasons. You get the first 3 games, and then you don't see your team for like a month, and then you get them back in pretty much the winter. So
it just worked out perfectly for a couple of trap games, I think. And I think that's like the BYU game, and I think it's this Ole Miss game. This is my other trap game because they're going at Bama. And believe me, like the big difference 2 years ago, whenever they played Bama, was like you could tell that was a team that actually believed they could beat Bama. Like I think it's getting to the point now where it's like blood in the water, where they're not Georgia, so they seem beatable. And I think this is the year that they beat Alabama for the first time since I was the legal drinking age. So,
in Tuscaloosa.
In Tuscaloosa, they almost did it a couple years ago. They went down to the wire with Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That's right, buddy. In T-Town.
Buddy, I can't do it. I got you losing both, but I got you beating Mississippi State on October 21st. How about that?
Well, I mean, everyone has that,
That's no fun.
I was waiting for you to come at me with I figured there was going to be a Mississippi State call here. I was just going to let it go.
They're a mystery team. They're like A&M. They're a mystery team to me. They're not running the air raid. So it's like, I have no idea what to expect. Then they get a bye week, and then you head to the Swamp, where you guys have never won. I was looking at the history on this. You guys have never won at the Swamp. This is the year you get your first win at the Swamp. This is where you get it done.
I gave us the L because we never win in the Swamp. It's out of our hands. Like it's the SEC like won't let it happen. Like a bomb will fall on the stadium if we're up with 1 second left. We'll get fucked somehow in this game. Yeah, we're totally losing this.
So I got you at 6 wins there, and guess what? You return to Fayetteville for the rest of the season. Now here's where it's tricky. I think the first game is the hardest game because the Gus Malzahn. I'm not Gus Malzahn. Why do I keep saying that? Hugh Freeze is he won with Liberty last year in Fayetteville. I could see this being a game. I think this is your last real test because I think you beat the Airport and I think you beat Missouri. So I have you on the over. I see 8 wins. I actually think the floor. I see 8 or 9 wins. I think the floor is 7. Maybe if BYU pulls the upset, it's 6. But I kind of think the floor is 7. Give me the over on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Do I even need to ask you because it sounds like you got them at 10-2?
No, 9-3. I give them the L at Florida because I actually think that's a look ahead for Auburn. Even though Auburn is terrible, we keep getting screwed against Auburn, and we're ready to kick the ever-loving shit out of them like they deserve to be shat kicked.
Oh man. Yeah. So I'm on the over. I think you got to hit the over here in the Razorbacks. I think it makes a lot of sense. And hold on, I want to play a clip right now. So if you bear with me here, Chase, because I'm going to play a clip from. Do you guys know who College Football Campus Tours, aka Michael Barker? He's a friend of the program. He's been to every single FBS college football stadium, and here he is talking about the Arkansas Razorbacks. All right, here we are on the College Football Experience, and I am joined by a legend in my mind. Look, if you're a college football fan, you gotta be following this Twitter account at CFB Campus Tour. You probably already know who I'm referring to, but his name is Michael Barker, and this guy has been to every single college football stadium in the FBS, and he's been to a ton in the FCS as well. If you follow him throughout the football season, he's going to like 3, 4, 5, 6 games a week. I don't even want to know how many hours you spend in an airport per year. But look, Donald W. Reynolds Stadium, Fayetteville, Arkansas. You've been there. I have not. Tell me about this stadium. And thanks for coming on the show, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. So Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, a.k.a. DWR, Fayetteville, Arkansas, obviously in the SEC, opened in 1938. It was originally called University Stadium, had 13,000 seats, and ever since then expanded perpetually, 76,000 seat capacity now. We got a grass playing surface, which we love. And in 2018, there was a $160 million renovation that expanded the north end zone and built an athletic center. And it's a beautiful, huge, legit SEC quality stadium.
Man, since 1938, I got to get to the stadium, man. So what game did you go to here?
So I went to 2 games. I went to one in 2019 versus San Jose State, and then I went to one last year. It was against Spencer Rattler. It was the first SEC road game for him, and Arkansas beat him. And under Coach Pittman, they really improved. And to see the program trajectory since 2019 to 2022 has been pretty amazing.
Yeah, I saw it. I remember last year LSU, I think, was playing at Arkansas, and there was like frost on the field. There was frost on the field. So people think, hey, SEC warm weather football. There was some cold weather. Did you catch any cold weather there in Fayetteville?
No, I went to it was the second game of the season, so it was still pretty warm. It was 11 o'clock kickoff, so it wasn't, maybe where you are going to sweat bullets the whole time. But Arkansas, we know they get tornadoes, they get cold weather. So maybe later in towards the end of October, November, you might get some of those cold weather games.
Yeah, I got to get out to that stadium because I just think of Arkansas. I call him Sam Pulled Pork Pittman. I can just imagine the tailgating scene is fantastic. All right. Look, I mean, what? And they still play a game in another part of Arkansas though every once in a while, right?
So 2 things. Number one is just sticking with DWR, the pregame tradition, calling of the Hogs. It's when the team is in the locker room and everybody's calling them out. I mean, it's goosebumps. Everybody should be able to take that in once in their life. And then talking about what you're referring to, they play 1 game per year in War Memorial Stadium. Fayetteville is located in the northwest corner of Arkansas. It's a big state. Not everybody can get there easily. So War Memorial's in Little Rock. Little Rock is basically smack dab in the middle of Arkansas. And so they still play 1 game a year to try to make it Arkansas football a little bit more accessible to fans. The quality of the stadium, War Memorial versus DWR, is not comparable. There's a lot of tradition, and they do upkeep War Memorial. So you have a choice. Not too many places or schools have 2 stadiums to choose from, but go to War Memorial, get that experience under your belt, and then go and soak up the modern amenities at DWR.
There we go, folks. So get yourself out there. I have to do that myself, folks. So, Michael, I appreciate you hopping on this episode. And look, folks, give him a follow. Like I said, at CFB Campus Tour, and you can watch this episode, youtube.com/the college experience. Michael is always going to all these games. It's a fascinating thing for me to follow. When every time I load up my Twitter, I'm like, wait, he was in Honolulu just a night ago. Now he's in Fayetteville. How's this possible? I don't know how he does it, but he does a great job. And it's a must follow, in my opinion, for any college football fan out there. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show and talking about both Arkansas Razorback stadiums.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Anytime. There we go, folks. Oh man, Michael Barker, shout out to him. You got to give that page a follow. And Chase, I'm curious, have you been to both stadiums?
Oh God. Oh, so War Memorial, I love it more than Donald W. Reynolds. I've seen football magic in that place. We're talking Jones to Birmingham to Atlanta. We're talking the second miracle on Markham when we threw it to old Stonehands London Crawford in the corner of the end zone to beat LSU. The block in the rock whenever we a hot Lou Holtz. I was there for that. That is my first like high school drunk at a football game. It's like I can hit this with a rock from here, man. It gets wild. Like I sometimes get sad that my children will never get to see a live woolly mammoth because they're extinct. I also get sad that they'll never get to see an Arkansas LSU game on the Friday after Thanksgiving in War Memorial Stadium. Because I have, it's fun. It's fun. And
they got to bring it back, man.
On a golf course.
They got to bring it back. And that sounds exactly like the college football experience. And I got to get over there for a game, man. I got to hit you up and we got to go to a game, man. Especially if that happens. If it comes back Black Friday, I think we might have to plan something. Folks, subscribe to the college football experience because we love that. We love that. When I hear the passion that Chase just talked about with the Arkansas Razorbacks, the block at the rock, all this great stuff, that is college football. And that's what makes it the best damn football on the planet, if you ask me. subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Subscribe, but also make sure you check out right there the Wolf of Oaklawn. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it right there. He's on Twitter at of Oaklawn. He's the host of the Notorious OTB podcast, also the host of the Gymnasium podcast with our pal XFL Jim. Go check that out and subscribe to his stuff. And we're breaking down. And look, I also host the College Basketball Experience, Arkansas rich basketball program. We talk college basketball year round over there. We also currently college baseball experience. We talk college baseball year round. I don't forget that a fan picked up a possum in the middle of a baseball game in Arkansas, and I will forever be grateful that moment happened. So you guys, your fans are fantastic. You're everything that's great about college football.
Odds are he was recent on his rugby shots too, which is incredible.
Yeah. Folks, I appreciate everybody listening to this one. Let's go Razorbacks. Smash that over. Get that SGPN app in the App Store and Google Play Store. It's free to download. And Chase, I appreciate you hopping on, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. Hardest working man in college football. Give it up. Give it up for Kobe Dan.
Oh, thank you. And look, this is only the letter A, man. We got Arkansas State right around. I don't forget about the boys in Jonesboro. Let's go. All right, folks.
If you can have me back for Houston so I can talk about Dana buffing the shiny metal ass of the Birmingham Bowl trophy, just holding it and smirking on the sideline. That's how he should coach.
We will have you back for the Houston Cougars one. Folks, this is the College Football Experience, Arkansas Razorback style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Run, shoot.